While headlines focus on wars and elections, the real game of power is being played behind closed doors. Nations are forging secret alliances, cutting silent deals, and redrawing the world order without anyone noticing. These hidden partnerships could reshape the future of global dominance. In this video, we expose what the media won't tell you. If you care about where the world is heading, you need to watch this. Hit subscribe, and let's pull back the curtain. For decades, the world has operated under a US-led global order, shaped by post-World War II institutions like the UN, NATO, and the World Bank. The United States positioned itself as the guardian of democracy and capitalism, supported by Europe and its Western allies. This framework allowed for a relatively stable period of geopolitical influence, where the West dictated the rules of engagement in diplomacy, trade, and conflict resolution. But that era is eroding, not through war, but through strategic realignments. Emerging powers such as China, India, Brazil, and Turkey are stepping into leadership roles on the global stage. Their rise is not marked by military conquests, but by economic influence, technological innovation, and soft power diplomacy. These nations are no longer content to follow Western rules. They're writing their own. China, for example, has established itself as a global counterweight to the West by building a parallel infrastructure of power, including the Belt and Road Initiative, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and deepening military ties with countries like Russia and Iran. Its approach is methodical and quiet, but its impact is undeniable. Meanwhile, the BRICS alliance, originally an economic bloc, is evolving into a geopolitical force. Its expansion, plans and talk of a new global currency are direct challenges to the dominance of the US dollar and the existing financial order. While these moves aren't front-page news every day, they're fundamentally shifting the balance of power. Even countries that were traditionally aligned with the West are reconsidering their positions. Saudi Arabia is collaborating with China, and Russia, while maintaining ties with the US. Turkey plays both sides of NATO and the East. India navigates its own path, buying Russian oil while engaging in US and EU tech partnerships. These are not betrayals, they're strategic recalculations in a new era of fluid power. What makes this shift so dangerous and fascinating is that it's happening quietly. Unlike the Cold War, there are no dramatic speeches or open declarations. Power is changing, hands through trade deals, digital infrastructure, and military cooperation behind the scenes. The old world order is fading, and a more complex, unpredictable one is emerging, marked not by one global leader, but by many competing alliances in the shadows. While public diplomacy dominates headlines, it's the back-channel relationships that are truly redefining global influence. Unofficial alliances, covert negotiations, and informal coalitions are being formed with little media coverage, yet they carry massive consequences for the balance of power. These are not traditional treaties, but calculated alignments built on mutual interests and shared adversaries. One of the most significant and least discussed alliances is the deepening cooperation between China and Russia. Despite ideological differences, both nations are united by a common goal: to challenge US hegemony. Military exercises, joint energy projects, and synchronized positions in the United Nations reveal a powerful, if unofficial, axis. Their alignment signals a new center of gravity in global geopolitics. At the same time, China is fostering relationships in regions once dominated by the West. Through economic investment and non-interference policies, it has gained influence in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Infrastructure projects like ports, railways, and 5G networks serve as strategic assets, allowing China to build trust and dependency with dozens of developing nations. Russia, on the other hand, has pivoted toward Iran, North Korea, and several African governments, providing military support in exchange for resources, political loyalty, and influence. These relationships may seem unstable on the surface, but they are anchored in the shared resistance to Western sanctions and interventionism. Together, these countries create a loose but powerful bloc of anti-Western coordination. Middle powers are also shifting. Nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE are no longer loyal extensions of US strategy. Instead, they're striking energy deals with China, inviting Russian officials to diplomatic summits, and joining new institutions like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. These moves reflect a broader global sentiment. The world is tired of choosing sides in a US-centric framework. What emerges is a map of fragmented, fluid alliances, where loyalty is conditional and interests are transactional. This new reality makes the world more unpredictable. Without fixed blocks like during the Cold War, nations move according to opportunity, not ideology. And in that shifting space, the old superpowers are finding it harder to maintain control. In the modern era, wars are no longer won with tanks and missiles. They're fought with microchips, satellites, and data. The most powerful nations are now in a silent battle over digital infrastructure, rare resources, and financial control. This economic and technological warfare is less visible, but far more far-reaching than any conventional conflict. At the heart of this struggle is the global race for semiconductor supremacy. Whoever controls chip production controls the future. From smartphones to missiles, AI to biotech. The US has placed sanctions on China's access to advanced chips, while also pushing allies like Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan to restrict exports. In response, China is investing billions to build a self-sufficient chip industry, framing it as a matter of national survival. But semiconductors are just one front. Rare earth minerals, used in everything from batteries to weapons systems, are now a strategic chess piece. China currently dominates the global supply chain, prompting the US and EU to scramble for alternatives in Africa and South America. This scramble has triggered a new kind of resource race, one fought not with colonial flags, but with contracts and influence. Meanwhile, financial systems are being re-engineered. The US dollar has long been the dominant global currency, but that dominance is under threat. BRICS nations are actively working on creating alternative settlement systems and even discussing the launch of a joint currency. Countries like Russia and China are already conducting trade in local currencies to bypass dollar-based sanctions. Digital sovereignty is also becoming a top priority. Countries are building national firewalls, banning foreign apps and developing homegrown platforms. China's Great Firewall, Russia's sovereign internet policies, and the EU's Digital Markets Act all signal one thing: the global internet is fracturing. Instead of one open digital world, we are seeing the rise of multiple tech ecosystems divided by politics and ideology. This silent war over economic and digital dominance is redefining power in the 21st century. Traditional military might still matters, but influence today is measured by who controls supply chains, who sets tech standards, and who writes the digital rules of engagement. And right now, those rules are being rewritten in real time, far from the public eye. While global summits and televised speeches capture attention, the real deals that shape the world are made in quiet rooms, far from cameras, press briefings, or public scrutiny. Shadow diplomacy has become a powerful tool in the hands of both rising and established powers, allowing them to forge agreements and form coalitions outside the traditional global stage. These informal arrangements are often brokered by intelligence agencies, corporate intermediaries, or through unpublicized state visits. One striking example is the China-brokered peace agreement between Saudi Arabia and Iran, a historic event with almost no Western involvement. This wasn't just a diplomatic win for China, but a clear sign that power is shifting toward quieter, back-channel actors. Similarly, countries like Turkey, India, and Brazil are using strategic ambiguity to their advantage. They maintain open relations with both Western and Eastern powers, carefully balancing military contracts, trade agreements, and political alignments, often with conflicting sides. This multipolar diplomacy gives them leverage, flexibility, and influence that traditional alliances cannot offer. Private corporations, especially in tech and energy, are also becoming unofficial diplomatic players. Deals between Elon Musk's Starlink and governments, or the influence of companies like Huawei and BlackRock in foreign policy discussions, show how non-state actors are shaping global decisions. These deals are often done quietly, with implications that surpass many official treaties, Even military coordination is increasingly done under the radar. Joint exercises between China and Russia are rarely advertised widely, and arms deals with nations under sanctions are handled through third parties. Western intelligence services have long operated this way, but now their adversaries are matching their tactics. Secrecy has become standard. This rise of shadow diplomacy marks a shift from transparent, rules-based global governance to a world of informal power structures. It's not about who gives the best speech. It's about who controls the flow of resources, information, and influence behind the curtain. And as these hidden networks grow stronger, traditional diplomacy risks becoming obsolete. The global order we once knew is unraveling, not with explosions but with whispers. Hidden alliances, secret strategies, and unofficial coalitions are becoming the true engines of power. While the public focuses on headlines and handshakes, the real future is being written in closed-door meetings, encrypted messages, and silent economic shifts. This new world is not led by a single superpower, but by competing spheres of influence, each operating on their own rules, timelines, and goals. It's a future that's unpredictable, unstable, and full of high-stakes gambits. And if we don't pay attention to what's happening beneath the surface, we risk waking up in a world we no longer recognize. The question isn't if the global balance is changing, it's how far it will go before the next great rupture. If this video opened your eyes, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. We dive deep into the power moves shaping our world. Drop a comment below. Which hidden alliance do you think will define the next era? Thanks for watching, and stay alert. The future is already being decided.